Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we have another match of the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Standard Tournament Season 6. This is loser bracket round 4 between JustSam and Sponge. Trackers today are Justin and Lazy, and the commentators are Shawnee and Yoshi-kyun. Take it from here.
Hey.
Every time I go on commentary, it's always weird to be back.
I have been on commentary a lot in the last few weeks, and I feel like every single time I've started commentary, I've been like, I can't believe this is happening in losers bracket already. And we're like round 4 losers bracket at this point, but still, I cannot believe this match is an elimination match already.
It's definitely been one of those tournaments. No one is safe. So we've got JustSam and Sponge.
But yeah, both very big players, obviously. Sponge has made major tournament finals before. Has been one of the most consistent players for a few years at this point. Sam is someone who I think flew under the radar for a while, but is definitely like one of those players and just has a lot more experience, but hasn't really had that big breakout until within the last year or so.
Yeah, I'll admit I've not seen too much of Sam. I've not been watching as much YouTube recently, but he's been doing pretty well recently. Sponge, on the other hand, has been around for a very long time. Near the top for quite a while.
So it's worth noting these two have 1v1'd in tournaments twice. One of them, the more recent one, Sam won at SGL. Notably in the groups, which Sponge then got out of and got further in the tournament than Sam did by 1 round. The one before that, Sponge won, and that was in last year's tournament. That was in Season 5. So, definitely a bit of a kind of grudge match feel to this at this point. Although, I think you kind of get that at this point with any two players in the tournament almost.
Yeah, definitely a... Gosh, how do I look at this quickly? Yeah, Sponge won the Season 5 match and ended up second, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, should be a good match to watch, I feel.
And it's interesting because, like, I feel like both almost feel like they're underseeded, but they're both, like, they're 13 and 24. Those are good numbers. Those are good high seeds. It just... You feel like they'd be higher. Forest Medallion start, Sun Song start, Child start? So...
Yeah, I love having... Oh my god.
Alright, nice and early.
Well, at the start, sure, I'm okay with that. I'm always okay with seeing that. So immediately we see a split here. Sam's going straight to the Sun Song grave.
Oh. Wait. But Sam playing Sun Song in front of the grave? Wanting Knight instead?
I guess this is a very early skull play. It's important to note this. Nocturne of Shadow for Child is now no longer a requirement, which is honestly quite nice for getting around.
It'll help them with, like,
Oh,
Dampe routing more than anything.
so
Okay, I'm surprised Sponge didn't do chickens. I figured that would be the reason to go out during the day. But
yeah, chat here just telling us why Sam played Sun Song.
oh,
You can't open
yeah.
it during the day.
it was more that,
I
like,
didn't even think of that.
the time investment there feels... I don't know. I get it. It feels like it's a decision of doing that or chickens, and that's why I'm surprised Sponge did neither.
Yeah, I'll admit to being surprised that Sam playing the song to get the Sun Song grave, seeing it's nothing in there, doesn't then also pull the shield grave while he's there.
We'll grab some of the skulls like you mentioned as well, coming out of here. Sponge really just straight on that song routing, and I mean, absolutely right. Songs will always be the most powerful part of this game, I think.
Oh yeah.
You talk to Talon from up there?
Really? That's good. That's kind of cool, actually.
Why?
Okay, no. Learn something new every day, I guess.
Oh my god.
And there's a chicken up there. There was a chicken on the stairs. I didn't know that was a thing either. I'm playing Sunshine again to put it back to day, it appears, and heading towards the castle. Probably, my guess is farming money to then go to London Ranch.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I think it's also worth noting, I know there's been some discussions recently about going adult or staying child and all of the merits of each. I could definitely see a Lon to adult play here. I think with that forest medallion, like, I think it's close regardless in most seeds, whether you want to do adult or child first. And I think with forest medallion, there's almost no question. Going adult is so valuable at this point. Might pick up another song first via that Requiem though.
Oh, Requiem on there, okay. With a good save warp location like you have on top of the Nocturne pedestal, I can see Requiem and then save quit. Or any luck, Requiem and another save warp, another warp song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think playing Requiem and then just save quitting out seems really valuable. If you get Minuet, you can get that song, if you get Prelude, you can get back faster. There's just so many ways that you can navigate this effectively. And the cost of save quitting out and just walking to Temple of Time from there, that's a pretty good backup plan if you don't get any of those useful songs.
Yeah, and that will also bring it up. Suns at Colossus puts you to start of night, save quit, Dampe.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Pretty official. I can never get the hang of that peak. I have tried several times.
I actually talked to Sponge about learning like peaks and stuff, and the thing he told me on that is just if you see the chest, it's good, and if you don't, it's irrelevant. The end. You don't worry about what it is. You don't need to know if it's a small key or a junk item, or if it's like, you know, you'll know if it's the boss key or a major item because you'll be able to see it. And if you can't see it, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just need to know if it's a relevant item or not. And early game, I'll be honest, keys aren't really relevant early game. Sponge is absolutely just playing something safe warping. Was that Serenade, I think I saw? On the song track?
I think it was, yeah.
Where is that stick upgrade? Was that in the Song's upgrade chest? I missed that.
I gotta be honest, I did not see it. I was focused on Sponge at that point, going off to Lon Lon.
$50 skulls being dead, that's honestly pretty good.
One of the things I always talk about a lot in tracking is like, when you have a situation like that where, okay, do you want all dungeons? Do you want 50 skulls, etc.? It will favour one of the runners. In this seed, in this race, I have no idea who it would favour. I've got to be honest, Sponge and Sam feel like very similar players for the most part, and the idea of one of them being better at execution and the other being better at routing just feels wrong. I think they're about the same level on most things, honestly.
Ooh. That is a green potion bottle over on Madante.
Nice early choose, though. Did Sam not
choose? Sam didn't open the shield grave. I mentioned
Sam had it at night, yeah. I guess you can go back there very easily, but
Very true.
especially if your plan is to go adult.
Yeah. Sam is using this Sun Song to great effect right now. And I don't know what happened there.
I do this in every game, right? Where like you like stutter step, you like tap forwards as opposed to actually running, just because the animations are really funny.
Oh,
Sam there was doing the same thing. He was holding target and like tapping the movement.
yeah. I see the point in chat. Some players don't open a small chest in Shield Grave. I get that. I don't think Sam opened the grave.
Yeah, I think Shieldgrave is on that borderline of like, if it's that early, maybe you do it, maybe you don't. I could see skipping it. Also, that's a spicy hint.
Shadow is path to itself. That is interesting, actually.
But it could be vanilla hovers. It could, more likely, a hook shot, I think.
Probably a hook shot in there, yeah.
I haven't the first two races I commentated this tournament and not again since, so it's a little do, obviously. That's how that works.
Oh. Oh. Well, that confirmed to the second grade was I was questioning about. You gotta love it, right? You walk up to a hint stone, you read it, and it's like, I've already done that.
Once or twice is fine. When it's the entire seed, like every single hint is just like self-explanatory, then you're a little mad.
Wait, did I read that right? Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Begor's the hammer. Okay. Interesting. We also saw Wasteland chest was a slingshot. I think it was Skull Mask dead.
Yeah, and the water boss key chest. Sorry, the rolling boulders. It always takes me a second to process the hint still.
Oh, yeah. I have to remember that there's River as well. And to no one's surprise, ZL's either early or OOT. In this case, it's early. I mean, free ZL from the start makes a lot of sense.
Alright, pedestal check. Got fire, shadow, DC Jabu's spirit, I think that was.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
That's a pretty good layout, honestly.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, you've got Stone Forest, which is always a dangerous one for routing. When do you do it? How long do you put it off? That kind of thing.
Oh,
it's always going to be available early. The question is, at what point does it become the best play? But otherwise, this is a setup that can give you a lot of, like, interesting information, at least. The downside is a lot of required items. This is probably, the highest number of required items? Except for, I guess if the Dongos was a stone. I mean, obviously, I guess if the free one was a stone. But, having all of Jabu Spirit and Shadow in there makes it feel like it's a pretty high requirement seed on the whole.
Yeah, I think the only way it could be more high requirement at this point is if the Forest Stone and Medallion swap over. So you get free stone and water's the medallion. Logically, at least, you need a fair bit. But we can probably ignore the bomb bag at this point. I want to get more tunes, actually. Okay, more tunes, sure.
Alright, yeah, no, this is a very friendly seed for explosives, and honestly good. I think those are some of the more interesting ones to watch. You get a lot more of the breaking logic, seeing how the runners can figure out the chains of logic around everything, avoiding going towards bomb bags on the way or whatever, and like making decisions around how far out of logic they are, is one thing. I hesitate to call it a weakness, but if Sponge has a weakness, I think he's very insistent on staying in logic more than he should.
Yeah, I mean, logic is all well and good, but just every now and again, as long as you know how to get back in, I feel it's fine to break it.
Yeah, no, I think the best thing to do is always to break logic for efficiency, but know where you've broken the logic and know how to get back if you need to. And you know, pretty much every runner at this level of the tournament is able to read the logic to a degree that they should be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice little strength upgrade there in the windmill as well, for JustSam's side. I'm not sure how much that does on its own, but it definitely makes a few things less costly for items, in a way. Less bomb tube requirement for DC, for example.
It's also one of the potential path to bongos that could be in shadow out the way.
Oh, true. You need one strength for that most of the time. Right, look at this song. Oh. Okay. I love finding Nocturne here because it's just, you get here, okay, just walk back up top. Also, I'm about to make a joke. Well, I can't be in Shadow Temple. Well, you couldn't anyway, it's a song. I swear I have coherent thoughts that make sense most of the time.
I mean, you are right. It cannot be in Shadow Temple. That is true.
Yeah, Sam choosing not to open the chest in Shieldgrave, which is completely fair, honestly. From his perspective, it saves time not to. From our perspective, we think it's a mistake, but if you don't know what's in it...
We haven't seen how many were on Man on Roof at this point. If that was 20,
True.
Sam doesn't care.
Oh. Sam playing the Bolero he got from the windmill instead of Nocturne. I'm guessing Nocturne after this?
Yeah, follow this song chain. You can't get out of here anyways, so might as well grab this extra song on the way.
Oh. Well, that gets you back through the Derby race to windmill afterwards, if you wanted to. Oh, I hadn't seen that before. That's actually a good idea.
I did not see what was in the wall. I have VCIs even on emulator, so I cannot peek items ever.
I want to say it looks like a nut, but again, I'm not the most reliable for peaks. The top of the crater was absolutely a red rupee, though.
Yeah, that one I got.
And that's a purple one. I will say that Sam's screen looks a little more sharp to spot stuff than Sponge's. That's not that much of a difference, honestly. I still can't tell. I still cannot tell. Drink there for Sponge.
And so we'll kind of see the convergence here where they'll have done pretty much the same things at this point, especially if Sponge plays Bolero out of Kakariko at the end of this. And at that point, we'll get an idea of kind of who's done this, you know, the earliest of early game faster. There have already been a couple of little differences here and there, but it'll give us at least a cursory idea of who's in the lead in terms of making decisions first. Obviously, it always feels really silly to talk about, like, oh, who's in the lead 15 minutes into a race, because the answer is neither of them. Everything can still change, but...
Yeah, it's far too early to call it.
You know, you got to give the people what they want. If people want someone to be in the lead, someone will be in the lead, even if it's absolutely marginal and will change 8 more times within the next hour.
I don't think I've ever seen a situation in one of these scenes where the shield purchase was the same price, actually. That's a rare one.
We see. Yeah, okay, I didn't see Sam with them as well already, but yeah, 10 pack of chews, so...
Yeah.
10 is dangerous. 10 is, like, enough that you want to do checks pretty aggressively still, but not enough that you... Yeah, not enough that you can just do them without really thinking about it.
Oh, hello. Oh, oh! Wait, why am I so surprised that I can be there with a path to shadow? It can't be in shadow! I swear I remember thinking about this game.
It does mean that, assuming shadow is early, bombs or hammer have to be early, but that's usually the case anyway. Like, half the game is locked by bombs or hammer.
Oh yeah, we know where the hammer is. We just need to find the
that's
trace
true,
item.
yeah. Wow. A claim check, yeah.
If it's not a claim check, you need 2 wallets in Logic or Ruto's letter. Also, I hate this backwalk every time, but just backwalk with Link facing the camera just looks weird to me.
Oh, it's so good for that peak.
It's amazing, Grip. It just looks weird every time. On bag path. Why would you wish that upon anyone?
That would be pretty fun, to be fair. I'm down.
Actually, honestly, yeah, it's not too bad. Now I think about it, could be a lot worse.
At this point, it would be hilarious because it means that your hammer has to open the dins, which then lets you get a bomb bag to get further in shadow.
Oh my god. Okay.
Better yet, if it's like locked by another item on the way, you get like a scale in shadow to get a bomb bag in lake to get further in shadow or something. But
I don't think I get any reasons to why you'd want to watch the runners suffer, honestly.
I want to watch a really good race, a really close, fun race between 2 of the best runners in the community, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Oh, hello. What is...
Oh my...
No. Okay, sure, why not?
Alright. That's a lot of value very early.
That's one of the spirit requirements ticked off the list. Oh god, that's Spirit Temple. You can get a single check in Spirit Temple right now. Well, on the plus side, you do need it, so can't really complain. So let's see what else the Dongus has for us other than bats that are on fire, which makes no sense, by the way. Why are there bats on fire?
Does that make any more or less sense than other enemies in the game?
I mean, we already know that stuff like shell blades make no sense, right?
I was going to say as well, like, Lizalfos are like my favourite enemies for that. Like, why are there these humanoid lizards with sword and shield? I don't know. Actually, do they have shields? Do they just have swords? Anyways.
I think it's just swords. Did they ever peek that bridge chest? Oh, they did on the query, didn't they?
Yeah, they both peeked it on the way from the door. I mean, mentioned earlier, kind of like, as they converge around all of this, Sponge still hasn't played Bolero, so this difference here is absolutely, like, marginal either way. Right now, I would say Sam is, like, slightly ahead because of that, in terms of is going to have the next play first, because Sponge will probably play Bolero out of this. But, yeah, we won't really know anything until they go child and we start to see... we still haven't seen either Sacred Forest Meadow song.
No, we haven't. Also, I'm not gonna lie, with a hinted major item on Vigorod, while it always scares me, there might be a case where you need two. Vigorod is our Megaton Hammer.
Yeah, and I guess it's especially notable with something like a hammer that could lock first bombs at this point. Because then, logically, you might be expected to Thorking's Aura to get... Just to get the hammer, just so that you can then use that to get bombs and then eventually letter.
Which is always fun to have the letter locked behind essentially itself. Did I mention I hate time
Oh, this
travel
one is
games?
locked. That's true, this one is locked. We're fine on that.
What was that?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Wait.
Bins? Magic?
That's not quite Shadow yet.
Need a hookshot or hovers to get across the gap at the start. That's it. Either one.
We've
And then
almost got,
presumably, the other one is in there.
yeah, we've got all the pieces to open the door, which is grand enough by itself. We kind of need to be able to get past the first obstacle.
Yeah, you can get in, just can't do anything. Except jump down a pit.
It's like the logic of water with Gold Scale. You can walk through the front door, or swim through the front door in this case. It's kind of it with it. Oh, from there. Oh.
I mean, maybe useful?
I mean, if nothing else, it's 50 rupees. Yeah, I feel bombs in Shadow might be a little more difficult. Because it would need to have another magic somewhere. As we all know, the second magic is always in Shadow, right? I know that's not how it works.
Also, already noticing an early difference in skull routing here. I know this is like a big contentious point this season. 10 and 20 are inefficient checks, but they're also the kinds of things you absolutely do not want to last location. If you're skipping them from the start, you're making a commitment to never do them ever. Because going back to get 10 and 20 later is horrendous. Sam's already at 7 skulls, and I don't even think Sponge is at like 3.
Oh, hang on, what's this? Well, that's convenient.
Ooh, Burning Kakariko has Song of Storms though.
Aye, that's always an interesting one to see because Storms is just good.
It's an interesting one to see late as well because if you can get it, your item's probably there. Like, it's late enough in the game that you'll probably just want them. Like, want to go and follow through to bottom of the well and stuff. But also, it's at the point where you might be in go mode before you can get it. Well, maybe not with shadow locking down this seed, actually.
It would depend on Mirror Shield at this point. Oh, go on, Pot's dead. Okay. Was that bomb choose?
In the grotto? No, it's a Hylian shield.
No, in the wall.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, it's 5. Okay.
Oof.
Well, it's 5 extra at least.
That could also explain why...
Oh,
That's-
that's an unfortunate one.
Yeah. I was going to say, that could also explain why Sam was being a little more aggressive with the choose despite only having the 10, but... Yeah, the 5 there, not super helpful on that.
Also, no, not ideal. Still better than having none, honestly. Okay, So what's this thing going to be? We have...
Akiri Path to...
I think that was Baronade?
It was more for a Baronade. I didn't actually see...
Yeah, it's Baronade. It can't be Morpher.
Oh, right, it's stone. Yeah. Headline blindness. It was blue. That means it has to be...
So what we're having at the moment, we have... I don't know what could be Kikui Force at this point. Well, Triangle Letter.
Yeah, it could just be bombs. It could be, you know, anything leading to it.
Anything to get into the main as well, yeah, that's just a fair point.
I didn't know you could do that. That was cool.
I did not see what happened there, but
yeah. Sam did a setup to basically jump slash and pick up the skull behind a rock.
Okay.
And I did not even know that was an option. That's a cool one.
You have to watch that back later, because I'm always interested in doing how to get that skull quicker. Okay, so Sponge has sort of time now and is resetting. Oh, okay. I'm trying to decipher where Sponge is heading next.
Yeah, turning in this big Poe at least, and then...
Oh, I didn't even see the big prodigy, but of course, yeah.
And then what?
Sam is going to use Din's fire to... This is faster than picking up the bomb and then explode by itself, right?
Has to be. Yeah, that animation is way shorter than a bomb flower timer.
Yeah. I looked away exactly the wrong moment to see that hint.
OoT Prelude, so... We won't be worrying too much about all dungeons at this point.
Oh, it's such a good song, though.
Any hikers? I guess we don't have to worry as much about hiking now, but
That's good. Okay, so we have Sponge going Child. I'm wondering if it's a... Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, this feels like the first big split here is Sam having this song, going out the way to get this song. If this is Minuet, this will make Sam's Child way better. Saria's potentially could. But if it's Epona, then Sponge is going to have gained time on this, essentially.
Yeah, it's like Sam's also taking the opportunity to tidy up all of the stuff in behind Mido as well. Oh, hang on. What have we got here then? Oh, okay.
That's huge, potentially. I guess it's not, because Sponge will still get that and then just go down to do Deku.
It's nice to have, but not really helpful at the present moment. Hold some more sample again. It'll definitely help with like jabbing. Hammer chest is a small key, I think I just saw there.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, so that. I'll just quickly, yeah. I love how it just pushed that Link out the way when the Bokoblin died. It's a bonus. I had to bring what the song was called for a second there.
Yep, no, that is the one that was saying probably wouldn't help much. Although Zora's Domain took Twin Rover is an interesting hint to get.
Yeah, we already have 2 strength upgrades, so I feel that's Mirror Shield at this point.
Yeah, there are some other options, but getting that information early is a big deal, I think.
Yeah, it's nice to know that it's there. Oh, hello.
Ah, there we go.
Bomb bag and boomerang.
Okay, well, that'll be the path to Baronade. 100% covered then. More sticks.
No, clearly the path to Baronade was the pack of 10 sticks. Honestly, at times, how did that miss? How did that
It went to the right instead of the left, killed the wrong skull.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so with that Zora's Domain hint, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sam make a play up river at some point during all of this. The issue being, they'll probably want to go over towards Deku Tree and the song first, because going towards river and getting all the checks through river into domain is a lot less likely to lead to something like a scale than doing all of Deku Tree will, and you'll want to do both regardless. So you probably want to try and do Deku Tree first, because it makes the other play more, I guess, more efficient. If you find the scale in either, you can go between them really easily, and you're more likely to find that doing Deku.
Very true indeed. Plus, even ignoring everything else, Deku is like, what, 7 quick checks?
Yeah, no, it's just very good, very efficient.
Someday there will be a day when those ice arrows become blue fire arrows and become useful. I don't think it's today, though. I'm kind of curious as to why Sponge is still climbing here. Did we see a big chest on the hand?
So I thought I saw a chest, which would mean it was a major item. But it was very quick.
Yeah, it's definitely a big split in the paths here. I thought Sponge was saving. Oh,
Yeah, it's always interesting, especially in a race where the two runners are relatively similar. I think Sponge and Sam have very similar play styles, and so it's really interesting to see this divergence, because then you're constantly wondering, you know, okay, did my opponent just make the same plays? Where could they have split? Like, how much do I even care? You know, do I play around what I think they might have done if I think it'll be similar to me? Or do I just play my own game 100%?
Oh. Yeah, it's always interesting to think about. No, wait.
We know that's dead, right? You got a hint that that was the first hint they read up at the Nocturne Warp Pad?
Yeah, chess game is definitely dead. I was confirm that. Yeah, dead. Probably gonna check the fountain event, just hit reset button.
Yeah, seems like a good plan here. Save all of those bomb shoes and... head back over towards Kakariko, I guess, from there then. And I would assume upriver at that point.
Oh.
Oh.
Looks like Sponge is choosing to keep it.
Yeah, it's going to keep the light arrows here then. I'm a little surprised at that. I thought Sponge would reset those away and just pick them up again later, but...
Yeah, not quite what I expect to be better, because you can just go ahead and note where they are, come back later. It's like a minute at most.
It's
Probably
one I can see
less.
going either way, though, because, like, it is one that you would have to probably warp, like, or go out of your way for later. You'd probably get them before or after Spirit. After Spirit, presumably. But you also have enough chews and early enough bombs, presumably from what you found already, that it's not that costly to lose the bomb shoes here. I'd be more worried about the spirit keys than the bomb shoes.
Spooky wouldn't be an issue if they reset right after Grandma Light Towers. Well, no, it wouldn't, because they didn't actually save the key. They saved the choose over the key, but we're going to keep going now.
Well, yeah, it's more that, I guess, yeah, his save was earlier, and, you know that, like, right now you know you need to get every key, which isn't the worst. You're already probably doing all of Spirit anyways, but Sam going in with, I guess if you got one on Child's side, one in the BMOS room, you would normally do the BMOS last anyways, so it isn't that much of a concern at this point. They'll probably end up getting the same 3 keys in the rest of Spirit.
I'm just hoping there's a key outside of Spirit now. There should be. It shouldn't be a way to knock them out at this point, but...
Yeah, I think that has to be, right?
I mean, if there's not, it would be a situation where we could get locked out of Spirit. I don't think that's possible.
Right. Sponge did every other check.
Uh-oh. Alright, who wants to see the prescription?
Oh!
Wait, what?
First hookshot in Shadow!
Oh, okay. No, that's fair enough.
So, there is still a world where it's not first hookshot. It is entirely... The bomb bag was Kikiri first. That was nice and early.
Okay, so cross that off.
But the other option is that you need your first, like, bow in Shadow, and it locks both of the other bows and the long shot to get across the gap at the end.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or vice versa, long shot locking all of the bows, but that one's far less likely.
But still a scary amount of possible.
I would assume it's first hookshot. I think first hookshot or something leading to it is by far the likeliest option at this stage.
Yeah, I feel if it's not that, then the Seed decided to have a giggle. Maybe it got locked less of its... It was a kick sword.
It was Sacred Forest Meadow, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Waffle Squatter, right.
Which Sponge will go up and get, and then we'll have to go back down to do Deku Tree. So it's only a little bit of lost time, but it is lost time compared to Sam.
Yeah.
On the flip side, Sponge will, well, possibly pick up Minuet here. We know it's a 50-50 at this point of the child song being either Saria's or Minuet. And if it's Minuet, Sponge will have a much faster time getting the adult song that Sam had to go out of the way for.
Yeah, this is true. Ooh, I think Deku was just Wallet at this point.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, just Wallet. And I can watch skulls. And for completeness' sake, yeah, the red ruby.
That is enough to put Sam above 10, so a real split in terms of the skull collection, I think. I don't know exactly how many Sponge has, but definitely... Sam definitely pushing them a bit more, yeah.
getting the boomerang at least, if Sponge decides to start rushing skills, can get a couple more at this point. Don't know how efficient he'd be getting the skulls, but
Yeah. Kind of touched on it earlier. Like, a lot of people have been talking about, okay, in terms of efficiency, 10 and 20 are two of the worst checks in the game. Like, even if you consider it takes 3 to 4 seconds per skull, with that plus the time it takes to turn it in, you're talking a minute plus per check. But the issue is, the flip side to that is, it's like a minute per check if you're doing it as you go through the entire seed and picking up only the fastest skulls as you go. If you get to the end and you're like, I have 3 checks left and 2 of them are 10 and 20 and I'm at 0, it's a lot more than a minute per check at that point. You've just lost all of that efficiency that you could have had. I think typically playing kind of aggressively against skulls, that's an amazing slingshot placement. I think that, like, playing like against skulls most of the time is good. But then the flip side is that when you lose a race to it, there's no coming back from it. You just lose the end. And in a 1v1, that's a big deal. In a 1v1, you do not want to put yourself into a position where you can just lose on the spot.
Yeah. But it's still wild with that slingshot. The Sponge getting the Kikiri sword, probably thinking, God damn it. Oh, but to be fair, Deku Tree is just a wallet, and I wouldn't want to see just a wallet either. Nice.
Nice, yeah.
Alright, what's our child song today then? Is... Oh, sorry.
So with all of that, I think that means that Sam saved time coming here as adult. One thing I'm always very important to like distinguish between on commentary is like, I'm not saying it's the right or the wrong play. There are strengths and weaknesses to each. But in this seed, in this situation, it worked out better for Sam getting the adult song than it did for Sponge not getting it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It means you can not have to worry about going back at that later until you need to beat the dungeon, if you need to beat the dungeon.
Yeah, Sam just getting to be a lot more efficient with like routing all of this in, and not getting Minuet there means Sponge will still have to go out the way to get Epona later, and picks up the Kikiri sword later and will presumably go back to do Deku Tree after all of this, so just a little more backtracking, a little more wandering around losing time essentially.
Yeah, I guess there's some bit of points that disappeared from my head.
Sorry.
It's not good, it can't be that important if it's not sticking around, can it? Yes, I'm going through to go on to see. We know that the pot is dead. We've seen that hint. I think Sam's seen that hint. I know we have. Okay,
should have. Yeah.
How many things does Pop Time have? I swear, half the time I'm down at chat is because the bloody Pop Time prompt has come up. Let's see what the movie has.
I gotta try something. I know this won't work, but... God damn it.
Nice try, though. Sponge going towards river.
Right, with the Zora domain hint, yeah, makes perfect sense for them to push towards river, and I imagine we'll see Sam do pretty much the same thing from here as well. Notably, Sponge did not go into Deku Tree here.
Ah, no, he didn't. So no extra wallet, no go on Ruby. I'm trying to work out if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's one of those things where I would imagine Sponge will go back there at some point. Deku Tree is just too good not to do. Like, at some point you're going to want to go back and do it. The question is when and how efficiently.
I feel it's more difficult to do once you've already done Kokiri Forest. Because at that point you're just going back 4 Deku Tree. It's slightly weaker play. But we'll have to see what happens there. Both runners now climbing up the river. Yeah, not doing Deku at all, I don't think is the play. But going back to it's a little more tricky now, I feel.
I'm curious, because I don't know when you do it if not there.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure either at this point.
So, we do know that the hovers were in a pretty terrible location. It's going to be difficult for Sam to go down to field checks. Typically, field checks are not something that people do. It's not something people prioritize very highly, and for good reason. They're generally pretty slow checks. There's not that many of them. It's low on, like, density of checks and, like, overall number of checks. That's also what tells us that the hookshot is probably in shadow, though. Probably. Not 100%.
Oh! I don't know why I was so excited at that hint. We know there's a key in the pot. Cool. I feel that almost obvious.
I'm surprised that still has a hint, honestly. But
I'm not entirely sure it needs one, yeah. I can't remember if that was one we kept in League or got rid of.
I remember.
I've slept since the season started.
Wait a second. How many Kokiri Forest of Marinade hints have we seen? It's just 2, right?
I want to say that was the second.
Yeah, okay.
1 sec. Yeah, I'm seeing 2 here.
Okay, good.
That could have been interesting.
I don't even track numbers of hints anymore because it matters so rarely. But I mean, it's entirely possible with that bomb bag as well. So I'm getting bullied by the skull here.
So, diving, I didn't actually see how Sponge did the torch. Did Sponge backwalk off the waterfall, or?
No, I think it's. I don't know who started doing this first. I've most recently seen Solly doing it, but going down the staircase, then doing flame storage on the torch at the bottom. And yeah, it just means that the torch is still in the same room, so you can just immediately go into doing this.
Yeah, there is at least 3 different ways of doing this at this point. I think we saw Sam doing the dins at the bottom and then run round strat. Yeah, running down the torch. Words, please. Running around to. Oh. Oh no.
Hmm?
There's always the main path to Twin Rover, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, alright, well, we got the wallet, so.
It's a logic. Oh god. So I completely derailed my train of thought, and now it's completely gone again. I'm good at
Yeah,
this.
no, it's you kind of alluded to it earlier, right? The idea that, when we picked up that first wallet, your response was, well, the second one becomes a scary item to see, and sure enough, it was in Deku Tree, notably, which Sponge hasn't done.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. Sponge is gonna come in here, see this first item, and really wish that blue fire arrows were turned on right about now.
So we have a really big split here now. The difference between that Field Scrub Grotto versus Deku Tree here. They're both going to benefit from the thing they've done. And then the question is, who puts off the thing, like the one that the other one has done? Who puts it off longer? Who gets punished more?
It all depends now on if you find Ruto's letter, I feel. Because I think that's going to be quite an important item at this point.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That second wallet, that could be a massive advantage. Or there could be a letter here, let's find out. Not on Sam's side. We know what this is. Nah. I see in chat it's less ridiculous than a fish costing 200. The thing is, I would be okay with a fish costing 200 rupees if it wasn't in the Zora shop. There is no way that should be 200 rupees in there when there's fish right outside the bloody door. At least I think there's fish in that shop.
Yeah, they were like a swordfish, maybe.
And now I need a character skin for this game that has a swordfish as their weapon. Yeah, I'm not sure anymore. I'm doubting myself, thinking that they sell fish. I'm actually going to go look this up.
Also, we just saw a skull count from Sponge there. He's at 4.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah, I did just check. The resort shop does sell fish at 200. That's where the first key was, okay.
So yeah, notably... Oh, the Sam climbing spirit, this was just one of the things we were saying was potential that the Sam could skip, depending on how things played out. Yeah, Sam not going to be skipping spirit. We'll invest a bit of time into this that Sponge already has.
Yeah, going with a slingshot as opposed to Sponge with bomb shoes also does make it a little faster for Sam. Not much, though. Less cost as well when you think about it. Speaking of Sponge, in they're going to Shadow. Let's see what it is, shall we?
Right, so we kind of assume we'll see a hookshot in here. There's not much else it can be. But there is a world where it's a bow.
It turns out the first check is a bottle of blue fire, and it's not logically relevant, but it just changes everything. I feel Shadow play here is probably completely correct, because you know that Shadow is path to Bongo, and at this point the only thing that can stop you is a hookshot.
Right, it's like 90+% that Shadow has your first hookshot at this point, and with how much a hookshot does in this game, you need to get that. You need to go and do it. And given that they have bomb shoes, getting a hookshot would be enough to beat Shadow as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. document the main part of the logic for trade quests? No, it can't. Handing in trade quest items is not considered in the logic, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it's only shuffled items that will be considered.
Yeah, getting the frog. But to think what item it was there for a second, because I've done that trade quest. Getting the frog doesn't count as for logic because it's not shuffled. Oh, hello.
Unless, though, there is a world where King Zora gives you your trade item.
Oh, God, that'd be funny, actually. Also, yeah, there it is. There's the hook shot. Just on... It was on Dead Hand. Yoshi, you love that check, don't you?
Apparently, yeah. every race.
Yeah, I believe Bongo is now just beatable for a sponge, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't.
Yeah, no. There's a world where there's some issue with the chew trick or whatever and you can't get there, but these two should, I think, know that one pretty well and just be able to get across really easily.
Seeing in chat, lens for crossing, we can't really count the lens for crossing the wasteland because the lens is in the next check that Sam will open. It's in the right hand chest. Yeah, right hand. Why do I have to question that? It's not my day today, is it? But yeah, as is apparently a thing for Yoshi commentating, it's on the hover boots chest.
The last two times it was just hover boots.
Is lens actually? I don't think lens is in logic for Truth Spinner in these settings. I think it's just crossing the wasteland and treasure chest game.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Alrighty, so Sam heading towards adult presumably here, and the question then is, where from there? Because Sam doesn't have the option of shadow.
Wait. Oh, no hover boots, right.
Oh? But it's gonna...
It appears to be a bean plant. No? Skull?
A skull?
Oh!
Nearly.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, so planting the bean here probably won't go out into field here, but if Sam comes back as adult to do the bean locked checks, we'll probably go out into field from there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I mean, you've just planted the bean, you get Scarecrow's song, you see what this item is as well while you're here. Sponge didn't stop for it, so I assume they saw and it was nothing.
I could not see what that was. That was such a quick glance.
Yeah. If they didn't go back and look again, I'm assuming it's irrelevant. At least I'm hoping it's irrelevant at this point. Yeah, I feel Sam's being more thorough. Sponge is definitely chose to follow the shadow path a little more. Is aggressive the right word? I don't think so.
I mean, Sam can't right now, I think is the big thing there.
Also fair, yeah. Remember the Hobbits were again?
Field Grotto Scrub.
Field Grotto. Oh, they might go there after this, actually.
Yeah. I think it's more likely that Sam goes adult and then does the beanlock checks as adult and then goes out into field with Epona so that you could then follow that over to Gerudo Training Grounds and there's potential plays from within that. But yeah, one of the things I've talked about on commentary quite a lot recently is like this idea of, okay, you want to generally be kind of thorough in your early game because there aren't that many checks in Sphere Zero in these settings. and then you want to be very aggressive in your mid game, push your hints, get your information, and then the late game is kind of this middle ground between the two. And the big question you have is A, how aggressive do you need to be in the end game? And B, where does your early game end and your mid game start? Where does your mid game end and your late game start? Kind of recognizing that transition point of, okay, I've got a few items, I've got options available, now I need to start pushing things aggressively. I think Sponge is at that point of, okay, I've got information to work with, I've got plays I can make, I need to start pushing them.
Yeah, it's always interesting to figure out when do you just stop hoovering up everything in sight and just do the checks. Do the progression, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And I think it's notable because Sam in particular missing the hovers doesn't have much information to work with, to the point that it's a very kind of borderline situation. I'm not sure that you'd be thorough or aggressive here, because Sam, on the one hand, doesn't have the shadow information, so we can't go and get the hookshot. But on the other hand, we have the Zora's Domain path to Twin Rover, so that's probably Mirror Shield. And we have the information, at least, that you'll probably need to do that to get your hammer. There's a world where Sam goes to do that, but not having a hookshot, I think, is too decisive, because you can't beat Spirit without a hookshot anyway.
Right, yeah, that took me longer than it should have. You need to cross the final gap towards the boss. Also, just be reminded that I should say very happy 1 hour to everyone. I'm wondering how happy it is for our runners. Probably not too bad, honestly. Sponge is on a tear through Shadow, about to reach the boat, which is, like I said, pretty much the finale to Shadow at this point. Sam is doing chickens.
And I guess 1 hour is a good opportunity to thank everyone bringing this restream to you here. So, for those just tuning in, I'm Yoshi, joined by Shawnee. And please make sure you give our runners a follow. They are putting on an incredible race so far. 2 of the best runners in the community, I think. So make sure you go and follow both Sam and Sponge. And of course, a huge thank you to our trackers, keeping everything running behind the scenes on the overlay. So Justin and Lazy there, and our restreamer Siberian, helping out, making sure between all of us that you'll get to see this incredible race. I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
I am very intrigued, yeah. We just seen our... Is that our last bottle with the bugs in it? On 10?
Hi.
There was a bottle on 10 during that.
Other than letter, yeah.
Yeah, so no blue fire bottle to make life easier for King Zora if needed. Well, I say if needed.
You know what this rupee farm is, right?
Oh! Wait.
120?
Yeah, if you're going to rupee farm, just use the chains. I don't get why you're farming there of all places. I don't get it. I don't know.
120 feels like an odd place to stop.
Yeah, far be it for me to question the decisions of the runners, but why 120? I'm sure there's a better... Unless you've got a bottle with a fish in it, which is 100 rupees immediately. Because you can sell it to the merchant guy. Beggar guy, whatever he is. The guy that...
I just always think of him as the banker.
Oh, right, yeah, of course he's the banker, yeah. I also did notice Sponge finding a slingshot in deeper shadow, which was amusing. Room before the boat. Yeah, blue fire to unfreeze King Zora is definitely a logical thing once you have 2 wallets and can afford it.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, I know there was a question earlier about whether it would be considered a logical item in terms of hints, which it never will be. Just using the blue fire is not considered in terms of hints, but buying it to Thor King Zora 100% can be logically required, and it pretty reasonably could be in this situation.
Yeah. Oh. So that's one way of getting your money, I guess. Yeah, selling the bugs makes a lot of sense. Although, you can talk to her?
You can talk to just about everyone in the market, and often will if you try to roll through.
I have never ever seen anyone even accidentally talk to that little girl. Oh no, Sponge.
Oh no.
I can understand the difficulty of this. It's not an easy one to do.
This is not the setup I'm used to seeing for it, but I can't say I've seen anything recently.
This is not a good sign, because if you don't get this, you're going to have to come back in later, which will lose time. Bit.
Oh no. Last one?
That looks good, that looks good.
Oh!
There we go. Sponge, master of giving the entire world a heart attack.
Ooh.
I don't think Sponge pushed the block, so
Yeah, no.
it's either do it then or redo Shadow, and that's a painful walk.
Yeah, it's like, if you're nervous about that, you can not go into the maze at the end and void out to push the block afterwards if you get it wrong. But I assume Sponge wasn't particularly nervous about that, and that makes it all the more nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my god. So there's Sam's 300 rupees buying the blue fire, gonna climb up to King Zora. I am interested to see what comes out there, because if it's a mirror shield... Mirror shield makes the most sense, but it's not going to be very good for Sam.
Yeah,
You still
just Mirror
can't
Shield
use it.
adds up the most. And at that point, Sam is back in that kind of almost early game mindset of like, okay, I just have to do checks. Just wherever there are checks, go do them.
Yeah.
And having already planted the bean, that might be the kind of thing that Sam wants to push towards there.
True. So Bongo down for Sponge, which is also more important than I was initially thinking, because that's our fire medallion. We now have access to Summer Storms.
Immediate Bomb of the Wild then. Maybe, okay, if Sponge knows that he's going to go and beat Shadow, is that the reason to put off Deku Tree? You're going back to Kikiri Forest to get the Storm's Grotto and Deku at the same time? And as you go, child, to also get Bomb of the Well Done?
Yeah, that'll probably be the last chance you're going to get to do Deku without going massively out of your way. You know that's a force check already. So yeah, Sam's just going to be climbing up. But I really want to see what this is at this point.
I fully expect it just to be the Mirror Shield and nothing else. I will absolutely lose my goddamn mind if this is like the claim check.
I think it would honestly be funny if it's a prescription. Oh, you've unfreaked me. Here, have this prescription. Oh, a prescription. I can help you with that.
It always just reminds me of that one. Anyone who's played this will know exactly what I mean, and anyone who hasn't, I'm fine to say this because it's not a spoiler in the slightest. It'll always remind me of that, like, Ace Attorney situation where Edgeworth hands you a report and is like, here's the report, and you go around showing it to everyone and no one responds. You show it back to him and he's like, here's part 2.
Oh, no, why?
And that's what it's like there. It's like you go and I'm talking to her, he's like, prescription. You're like, here you go. Here's the next step.
Give us both at once, God's sake. Now, if I was in Sam's shoes, I would not trust myself going below. I would go round and just drop the fire on him. To spend $300 on it's not to waste it. It's the Mirror Shield.
Okay, as expected then.
It makes sense. It's directly hinted, so now you go in there. Interesting strat there from Sam to avoid targeting a lever.
And it's interesting that they've gone into Spirit with, like, almost dueling items. It's like, you'll need both the hookshot and the mirror shield, and they both have one but not the other. Be interesting to see how many checks they can get through. With that key, I assume most of it, but see if they lead to anything as well.
I don't know what Sam was doing there, and I realised the switch exists. So, yeah, Sam chose to save the key rather than keep the lens, I think. Did he keep the lens? It does a bar
No,
personal tracker.
yeah, Sam got rid of lens, I think, but knows where it is, so not a huge concern.
That's a big one. Oh.
Ooh!
That's
Huge!
very interesting.
So big! So, we got one key on child's side. We then didn't get another key until the fire room, right? The BMOS room?
Yeah, there's one in Sun's room, I think.
And that was it. Those were the only 2 we saw. Those adult ones, there we go. There's our 3rd key, hookshot locked. That hookshot is logically hookshot locked.
Right,
But it doesn't matter. Sam is going to get it and not care.
I hate logic sometimes. It's a mess.
So Sam is going to have to remember this logic. We'll need to get those hovers. We'll need to figure out the fact that, yes, this hookshot is hookshot locked, and yes, you need to use that to... The path to Bongo is your first hookshot. And Sam should know at this point, with that, at least reasonably, that the other hookshot... Oh, sorry, that the hovers are not hookshot locked. But not 100%.
Oh, there's boss key. I don't remember what the keys were. There's one here, one in sunblock room, one on child bridge.
Yeah, we had child 1 and we had the BMOS room, and then we've seen the ones here essentially.
Yeah.
One in the lobby, one in the first room here. The other one has to be deep for that hookshot logic to make sense. Okay, so essentially to explain the spirit key logic in a simple way, spirit key logic is always set up so that you could never lock yourself out, even if you open all of the wrong doors in any scenario. The easy way to think about that is the first checks as child and adult are 0 key locked. The child climb room and the fire locked checks are 1 key locks, assuming you have the items to do them. And everything in the adult lobby onwards is 3 or more keys required. So there were only 2 keys available before the 3 key door if you didn't have hookshot. Because the 3rd key was on that first hookshot locked check in adult.
Sam could also 100% progress further than Sponge here because Sponge kept the lens. Sponge hasn't got a key to climb past this room.
Right. And yeah, Sam having the mirror shield and getting the hookshot here means that Sam can just beat the dungeon.
Yeah. Absolutely. This will probably be a small key. Yeah.
And that makes sense as well, logically locked by your previous 4.
Yeah, I'd like to know what the other path is at this point, because I want to see if this is detailed in the logic anywhere.
Right? I want more information at this stage.
Also, the Silver Gauntlet coming in with a party of 41. Good to see you, folks. Welcome into this Losers Bracket 4? Yeah, Losers Bracket round 4 match between JustSam and the Salty Sponge. It's been a trip.
Yeah, definitely a spicy seed so far. The hints have really given interesting direction, not very useful direction.
Oh yeah, so basic story. Sam bought blue fire. That's it, that's a tweak. One of the hook shots was on Dead Hand, not Bong, what am I about? On Dead Hand, and one of them was in the mirror room in Adult Climb. The blue fire had the mirror shield, and oh, how the hell did that not grab? Seriously, how did that hookshot not grab that wall there? There we go. I'm going to be honest with you. Sam is significantly braver than I would be. I would have killed the spider. Oh, right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Okay, so we're here.
So we do get to see a lot of new plays from Sponge here, but notably doesn't have a bow. So won't be able to clear out everything here. I say everything without iron boots either. Toilet doesn't count. It's not a real check.
Oh, this room is terrifying. Yeah, this is also quite interesting for the hook lock hooked. Hook locked hook. Very really in logic. You're able to get here without it. As long as you went to Child Spirit first. Let's look at this maze. Oh. Song of Time, very useful for keys here. That's 3 keys locked by Song of Time.
So, just to recap the hookshot logic for the people coming in from the raid, your 3rd spirit key was hookshot locked, and the hookshot was logically 3 key locked in spirit. So the shadow one is your 1st, and that is the path to Bongo.
Yeah.
And you need that in order to get the one in spirit. But Sam getting the one in spirit first out of logic means he's just able to go up and beat Twin Rover now.
Yeah, the hovers were in Open Grotto?
Deku Scrub. The
Scrub.
Hyrule Scrub.
Okay. And it is in Fields, can remember which one. 4 keys already in GTG. Admittedly, 3 of them were in the same room, but you know, we'll ignore that. Yeah, with a Hammerlock, which we know is on the Goron, what we don't know is if a trade quest item is. There is a better than even chance we're still going to need to unfreeze King Zora for the Mirror Shield and for the hammer.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at all of the maze when Sponge went in, and I'm guessing neither did he, given that he's going in for this one, unless there was nothing.
There's a key there.
I looked
I
at nothing.
I cannot see anything there. So. Damn.
I don't think that was, all useless, so... Didn't see how many keys there were, so we don't know how many checks are left. But, that definitely makes the whole of the Gerudo Training Grounds feel pretty weak at this point, knowing that you've immediately written off half of your checks and you've just got the slow ones left with no bow.
I know that there was 1 key in the maze and we had 4 going in. There's 4 keys left.
Was it definitely just 1 in the maze?
I only saw 1. It's 1 for definite. Oh, that was a nice twin rover. I'm definitely in favour of that twin rover.
So what information are we still missing at this point as well? We've talked so much about the logic and the fact that Sponge needs to go and do Deku to get a wallet, to buy Blue Fire, to get a Mirror Shield potentially, but we don't know where the letter is yet, so that's not guaranteed.
We're only really missing for knowledge is Ruto's letter and the trade quest item.
Yeah,
And a bow.
and the bow, yeah.
The bow is a little less needing because there's 3 of them. Oh, hang on.
This is a bow here as well. This is... Never mind.
Oh, it's Ruto. Oh.
Sponge, not going to have to do Deku Tree. Might still. Deku is just a strong play. Might still have to do Deku, but...
That could save Sponge potentially. We don't know. I don't think we're going to know specifically until we see the other 2 items. Oh, this should be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So, just for context there, Sponge, if you needed to thaw King Zora before getting the letter, so for example, if it were Hammerlocked and you needed to do the trade quest first or something, then Sponge would have needed the wallet from Deku Tree to buy Blue Fire. But getting the letter now means that, yeah, Sponge does not have to worry about that, can just turn in the letter, do Ice Cavern, get the Blue Fire that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at Chaz, about to mention, we've now had 8 keys in DTG, so amongst the 5 remaining checks, which are the 4 bow checks in toilet, there's 1 key.
Ooh.
Which is interesting. 3 medallion was Forest. It's Sponge Rapstorms? Yeah, Sponge Rapstorms.
A little early from Sam on the jump. What was that?
I don't know. It's possible that Sam caught the very edge of Dead Hand digging animation.
Yeah, kind of got grabbed, launched, and then re-grabbed.
And it pulled it back out. Oh, that's quite right. Sorry, four checks remaining in TC, not 5. I forgot we'd seen the upper statue one already.
Right, yeah. So yeah, Sam there, finding a long shot and immediately heading out
Wait.
to...
Hint? What? Actually, no,
We're missing some paths. This
this
is...
makes sense. No, okay, I
Yeah.
can see it, yeah. Frogs 2 dead. I'm not entirely sure we saw that one yet, but it's nice to have. Oh, we had.
Yeah, I think we're only missing 2 path hints and that's it.
Oh! Here follows the King Dodongo. That tells us a lot, actually. Namely, you're not finding another bomb bag that's not bomb locked. Like, we know it's a bomb bag. It also means you shouldn't bank on any refills anytime soon.
But that... Oh!
Oh!
Sponge finding a bow!
Oh, that's big, actually.
So the one thing I will say with the King Dodongo hint there, by the way, that does actually do one very important thing here. We've already got a hint for the first hook shot, we've already got a hint for a bomb bag, and we're missing a path to evolve. So, knowing that the hammer is on Big Goron, that remaining path hint almost always points you to your trade item. There is a world where it points to hovers, but it's probably the trade item.
Oh, right, yeah.
Most of the time.
Oh, that's actually really relevant, yeah. I didn't even think of that. So, yeah, I think if I was seeing that hint, I'd prioritize reading hints a little more. Try to see if we can find where that path hint is.
Right. It, like, on the one hand, it doesn't really work for Sam right now because they're also still missing the hover boots. They have to do kind of a bit of both at this stage. The flip side to that being, well, if fire isn't pointing you to the trade item, it's pointing you to the hover boots.
So, Hyrule Field path incoming?
Potentially. But even then, if Sam is reading that and going, okay, I need this path evolve hint, cool, you go out and do field checks, you get grottos, you get hints.
Which sends you straight towards where the hover boots are. That's a horse.
No.
There's your
copy.
That's
so
good
yes,
to know.
Sponge's side is going to be fairly linear at this point, I'd imagine. We'll see all of Jabu, and then we'll see Ice into throwing King's Aura, get the Mirror Shield, beat Spirit. Sam, on the other hand, it depends on 2 things, firstly. Is Sam about to go and get the hovers? I think the answer is a likely yes. And then, either before or after Shadow, does Sam then go over to the Gerudo training grounds at that point?
Yeah, I don't think Sponge... Oh, I was going to say, Sponge hasn't got opponents, so Sponge couldn't do horseback archery. That's also a contentious point.
The flip side, obviously, being that if the trade item is just on the path somewhere between everything, odds of it being in Jabu pretty low, but it could be. If it's just in Jabu, Sponge just wins. There's almost no question at that stage.
Yeah, Sponge having already cleared just about half of Spirit, having the boss key, that they can go and, once they get the Mirror Shield, they can go and get the last key they're missing to climb up to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
It mostly depends at this point on where the trade quest item is. I don't know what it is.
If it's in Ice Cavern, that's
Convenience.
That would be another one where Sponge probably just gets the win here, because Sam would then need to do Gerudo Training Grounds and Ice and the dungeons in the time it takes Sponge to do Ice and the dungeons.
Yeah. Answer a couple questions from chat real quick. Treasure Chest Game was our first hint, I believe. It was hinted foolish. So nothing there. And Bigoron is the Megaton Hammer. So we 100% need it.
Right, necessary context for all this talk of trade items, yeah.
Yeah. Also, pup time. So I'm keeping a close eye on Sponge's item finds in Barony, because I am very curious. In Jabu, not in Barony. Barony's later. Oh my god.
Big chest! Big chest! Never mind.
I mean, nice, but not required.
Good to have, potentially. Maybe not so much with the dungeons that Sponge has left, but...
Yeah, it feels a little weaker this late, but still nice to have. Yeah, it would be much nicer to have about 2 dungeons earlier.
Yeah, no, in particular, Sponge having that for Spirit before
Oh yeah,
having to leave would have been really good, but
very true. Alright, let's have a look what we got. Ah, this stuff. Okay.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, Sponge could just leave Feroz in ice and not actually do ice. Go in, grab the blue fire, look at the first chest, and then just leave the Feroz on the way through.
Good idea, honestly. Being able to just have that waiting there to come back if you know you need it. Or
It is always a weird... It is always a kind of awkward one, leaving Feroz Wind in ice, because it's just one room, so it's always at the entrance.
Oh, yeah.
But, at the very least, I think the way you would actually do it is you'd go and get the first check, grab the blue fire, go down, melt the first wall, look at the next 2 checks in that room, and then grab 2 bottles of blue fire, set FW and leave. Because the last check is the slow one, and at this point you know that the song is near enough useless.
Sponge hasn't been there, so there may be a potential small argument to grabbing the song so that you can get there quicker.
True, yeah. I guess if one of them is Epona's... Although, I don't know how much Sponge values Epona at this point either.
I feel it would entirely depend on whether or not anything gets hinted for Greedo Fortress. If there's a fortress hint, you absolutely want Epona.
Yeah, 100%. But at that point, I think
now.
you would use the Feroz Wind to go back at that point.
Oh, that's a good point also. Sponge wouldn't know 100% if it's...
No, well,
Yeah,
Sponge is on a 50-50, but both are pretty worthless at this point, for the most part.
Yeah.
Both Epona and Minuet. So Epona, you'll only go there if it's like actively hinted, I think, for Fortress. And with Minuet, you'll go there when you want to do Forest. And at that point, you Feroz Wind back to Ice anyway, first, before you do either of those things, to get that value at that stage.
Oh, yeah. Also, spell update, JustSam is at 18.
And I think Sponge was at 9. Grabbed the 2 in the bottom of Jabu, and I think that was, yeah, 8 and 9.
Sponge is just hoping that it's not claim check or whatever on 20. At this point, if you're at 90... Oh, nice! If you're at 95 minutes into the scene, you have 9 skulls, you don't want to have to grab 11 more.
I mean, yeah, a part of it is, like I say, the skull efficiency is always a really interesting one, because, like, skulls in and of themselves are not a good chunk, right? Like, we had this conversation earlier of, like, each skull individually is slow. It's fine, he's got this, it's free. What? Okay, that...
It's fine, it breaks even.
Second actual attempt. Not
Yeah,
going to count the walk.
Yeah, third try breaks even.
But yeah, so notably, I think, yeah, the thing with Skulls as well is like the way Sponge is playing this makes sense to me. He's at 10 now, at kind of mid to late point in the seed. 20 feels like you really have to reach, and I think Sponge maybe has been a little aggressive on it, but honestly, like, this feels like the way to play Skulls. More notably, once you're at 10 or 20, any skull you get beyond that without hitting... once you're at 10, notably in a seed like this, where we've got 30 to 50 hinted, every skull you get between 10 and 20 without hitting 20 is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to 17 skulls at the end of a seed, 7 of those skulls you had no reason to pick up.
Oh, that's a very good wind rim. Very clean wind rim. You can just hit 20. I mean, if you hit 20 never turn them in, that's even bigger time loss, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely never done that. All too often.
Yeah, I don't feel I should comment there. Can 20 hold a bow? Entirely possible. There's 3 of them.
Yeah. So, right now the bow isn't hinted in any way. There's nothing pointing towards the bow being the only one.
Come on. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. What if we required that you need gold gauntlets to carry Ruto?
Just what Jabu needed. More item requirements. Okay, having gold gauntlets is an option to move. Was that it?
Description in Fighting Fairy.
A Sponge is in go mode then. And I think probably knows it as well with the hints.
Yeah, so I'm trying to work out mentally. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's a big find. Obviously, it's the biggest find possible. It's the end of the seat.
And so, like, the big turning point here is that letter, right? Sponge picking up the letter in GTG could then go and do Jabu and the fountain and ice for the blue fire and all of that. But Sam going out the way to buy the blue fire with that wallet from Deku Tree has not gone anywhere near getting the hasn't got the letter, hasn't got access to Zora Fountain, has just kind of missed out a few steps along the way by, I guess the other way around, has kind of jumped ahead a few steps and missed out a few key links in the middle.
Yeah, look at chat that's saying Sponge on Mirror Mark. Mirror is on King Zora. You have to talk to King Zora to be able to start the trade quest after unfolding him, so you're gonna get that mirror.
Yeah, and very notably it was Zora's domain to Twin Rover, so Sponge will know 100% it's either the Mirror Shield or something that directly leads to Mirror Shield.
Yeah.
And there's exactly one item that could be there that wouldn't be a straight direct chain. You know, if it was strength 3, Sponge would just go to outside Ganon's and do that. The only one that could show up is the scale.
Iron boots. We haven't seen those.
Iron boots, even then, you're able to do everything that's iron locked. So it's just you just follow the path to the end.
Oh, Sam almost getting grabbed there. That last invisible hand was about to grab him.
Yeah, so we do still have a pretty long path for Sponge to finish here. He's going to go in, start Ice Cavern, or at least pick up the blue fire, and then has to leave Thor King Zora, give him the prescription, take that over to the lake, take that up to the volcano, and then beat Spirit and beat Fire.
Yeah, I'm seeing in chat questions about Trade Quest. If you had the eye drops, you could just walk them up to Bigoron and hand them in, but the logic has to assume that you'll lose those eye drops, just in case you do. So the logic is that anything before anything prescription, eyeball frog, or eye drops has to be assumed is the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So the logic will assume that you have prescription, so you have to be able to unfreeze King Zora. Claim you just hand it in. That never goes away.
Yeah, anything that's on a timer resets if you save quit.
Yeah, even if the timer's not running.
Right, yeah, so if you were to save quit while holding the eye drops, you would have the prescription again. And you'll actually see a lot of runners. If you start a race, for example, I remember seeing this a lot in like Season 3 and like the vanilla child spawn in Kikuyu Forest. If you went into Mido's house and got the eye drops, a lot of runners would just reset on the spot.
Yeah, hold them there until you'll hand them in.
Yeah, like if you find that hint later, you don't want to do the full trade quest, and you don't want to lock yourself out of save quitting that early, so you just immediately just reset them back to where they are. More so with the frog, honestly, because the eye drops at least you can usually turn in pretty early.
Plus, you have to remember that old OoTR thing of frog warping. Back when frog warp was still more relevant than it is today. For those who don't know, if you fail a timed section of the trade quest, you get taken back to the start of the first timed part of that run. So if you get eyeball frog, hand it in and get eye drops, and fail eye drops, you get sent back to King Zora. So the thing you used to do was hand in the frog to get eye drops, play a warp song, which sets your timer to 1 second, and then appear in front of King Zora. Hence, frog warp.
Oh, is Sponge gonna? This is the Sponge special, isn't it?
Oh
This
my god, it
Sponge's
is!
specialty.
Who needs Rewards Wind?
Sponge has a history of doing this. It's like the third or fourth time. Oh, he did it. Disappointing. Okay, so for those who don't know, Sponge has a habit in situations like this of copying the save. And he'll copy the save file down, play through one of them to see if he's in go mode, and if not, reload the previous save back in.
I'm actually a little disappointed now. Alright. Oh, save file copying is entirely legal.
There's very few uses for it. It's very rare that it comes up a situation that that's a good play. Sponge somehow seems to find those situations.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so eyeball frog, you have 3 minutes to get this down to a laboratory in Lake Hylia.
1 speed frog obtained.
Ahaha!
I see that tunic change.
Yeah, I know what's happening here. I think a lot of us know what's happening here. I know what's happening here as well by seeing the well. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, good play. Very quick dungeon with a lot of checks. Really high density. But I think at this point with CSMC, the chest size matching contents, you're able to peek everything, and I think at this point, Bottom of the Well is probably the most check-dense dungeon in the game.
I believe it, yeah.
Just the highest checks per minute, but
From
you know,
Sal's
we
perspective,
know...
this has to feel like the right play.
Right, it's at the very least a very justifiable play, completely understandable here, but we know from our perspective it's not a winning play.
Yeah, sitting here in the commentary booth, we could always say, hey, this is not the right play. The runners shouldn't know that. The runners don't know that we can see both sides. They can see their own side. Oh, there is a big chest in the well, though. Let's see what this one is, shall we? Oh, it's torture. Okay. If you were to change well as worse than GCG, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Depends on getting there, because having Nocturne to get to Bottom of the Well is pretty quick, and getting to the Gerudo area is not free. There are two options, and both of them are pretty slow.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting, so GCG's 13 item checks.
Yeah.
Bottom of the Well is 11. So the difference in number of items is pretty low, and Bottom of the Well is a lot quicker.
Wait,
What on earth was that?
Oh my god, to bow.
Of course, okay.
Well, there's one bow. Alright, so there is our eyeball frog handed in, and now we're going to see some pretty cool tech here. Immediately Sponge is pulling out the ocarina and warp into Bolero. Now, remember when I said that this quest goes to 1 second on the clock if you play a warp song? The heat timer overwrites that timer. It pauses the trade quest timer and puts the heat timer on instead. So when Sponge leaves the trail, they will have just over 1 second to get to Begoron and hand these in. Which is plenty of time.
I always want to know, when people played this game vanilla and did this trade quest in vanilla, did they, from Lake, did you go to Kakiri Forest and through the shortcut, or did you go up through Kakariko and up the mountain?
I think my first time playing, I went through Kakariko.
I think same, and then every time afterwards I went through Kakiri Forest.
Yeah, that sounds right. Another important note for the strat that Sponges did, you have to walk out of the lab before the timer hits the corner. Preferably as soon as possible. Because the timer doesn't start ticking down until it hits that corner. And yeah, that is it for Sponge. It's just beat fire, beat spirit, kill the pig.
And yeah, it does depend on where this fire boss key ends up being, but has already done most of spirits, so that one won't take very long. And you know, we said going into this that they were 1-1 against each other. Sponge's win came during Season 5. So that's 2 consecutive tournaments now. 2 consecutive of the main season tournaments that Sponge will have beaten Sam.
Also, boss key was right next to the boss door. I love it when that happens. What's this large chest in here? What's been the second bow? Or the third bow? Oh, it's silver scale.
Okay, I wanted to check if the one in Season 5 was winners or losers side, but it was winners. So it isn't consecutive eliminations, but
Oh my god. Sponge is having some horrendous luck with Bombardier's here.
yeah, those are not the placements you want.
But if it happens again, don't think that's enough hits.
Neither does Sponge, apparently. Ooh.
That was.
Needed that extra one. Nice.
Okay, so evolve down. So I'm going back at dawn. I'm not sure where he's heading next.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of options left, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Sam go over to Gorilla area, but
Yeah, I
he'd
feel
probably
like it's probably
clear
there.
out all of it as well. Because obviously Sam doesn't know about the trade item in Fountain, so would get the letter. You're not going to immediately just be like, ah yes, I better go and do Jabu, that will have my item. So Sam will probably keep going and doing the rest of the checks, looking for the trade item to be in go mode.
Yeah, it turns out trade quest item is just move King Zora. Which you need to go to GTT to do.
But yeah, so Sponge here needs to go up and do the Mirror Shield check near the 4 Arbust. And then the hallway... Or did Sponge get the boss key in the hallway already? Would have already done that, I think. So yeah, we'll just have to get that one remaining key to climb up, and then we'll be able to just go up and fight Twimmer over.
Yep. Hey. I don't think we've seen Evolve Path at all, have we?
Yeah, that's the one we're missing. Which probably, at this point, is Zora Fountain.
Yeah,
But
that
also
has to
could be... It could also be Hyrule Field at this point. We do know that fire is hoverlocked.
I'm trying to think how many hit stones we haven't seen. There's second one in field. There's the 2 dumb ones. There's all the storms locked ones. You haven't seen those.
Yeah, we haven't seen a single Storm's Grotto yet, which I guess a
Makes
single
sense.
one. There are 3, and one of them is one of the 2 dumb ones.
Yeah. Oh. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm heading into GTT now. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little too late at this point. There we go.
And, like, this is one of those things where all of the run, like, all of the plays the runners have made sense. It's the kind of race where I feel like if you lose this, you could feel a little bit aggrieved that you did something that made perfect sense for you and it just didn't work out. But nature of randomizer, right?
Yeah, that's something that's going to happen in random no matter what. You just make all the right plays and still lose because the randomizer side does put the item here instead. I've definitely fallen victim to that a few times. Okay, so let's see how Twin Rover treats Sponge today. Oh, I've got a second. Oh, what's that? Just opening the bracket to see who spun his next opponent was.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that one. Fresh course.
Okay, so I'll hold off on that for now, because mention it later on, because I don't know how recent the matches happened for it to be spoiled or not. That was a pretty good HBA. And it was nuts. Just nuts. Yeah, that chest looks pretty small to me, honestly.
And this is just another thing. Obviously, you know, we're at the point where it won't influence the result. But this is another thing that people have gone back and forth over for pretty much the entire lifespan of this rando. What order do you do fortress checks in? Do you do horseback archery before or after going into GCG? That kind of thing. It's a question of efficiency, and... Are you serious, game?
Of course.
But yeah, there's always that big question of efficiency where if you assume you will have to do all of it, then I think typically doing horseback archery first is better. But GCG is just far more efficient in terms of checks, and you will be able to usually find your item a lot more easily here than, you know, 2 checks here and 1 check on the roof and 1 check in the hammer rocks and so on.
Yeah, it's just... It all depends on what you have for check ordering, right?
Oh, most certainly, yeah. If you're missing an item for this, going up to horseback archery is far better if you're missing, say, a strength 2. Because you might get the strength 2 on horseback archery, nothing you do in the training grounds will improve horseback archery. Also probably depends on how many items you're missing. But...
Yeah, like, if you're missing a long shot, you be slightly slower getting to the rooftop, for example.
But yeah, Sponge picking up 6 medallions here will go and spawn the Rainbow Bridge. So we are just a few minutes from being done at this point. And just in time to, you know... Let me hold still for a couple of seconds. Just in time, pretty much perfectly for the 2-hour mark. This has been an incredibly fast seed.
It has. I like seeing the seed go a bit faster, honestly.
I think one of the things I really appreciate with these settings, and I've said this before on commentary, I think these might be the best settings, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not going to get started on settings discussions too much, because so much of it is so open to just personal opinions, the play styles, that kind of thing. Like, there is no perfect setting string. It doesn't happen, it doesn't exist. But one of my favourite things in these settings is the fact that you will have some seeds that go massively long durations, and it's almost all execution with little bits of like decision making scattered around. And then you'll have seeds like this that are all heavy on decision and incredibly fast. Like, they throw a lot of things at you and a lot of options, but it never feels like it's too much. It's always in that nice balanced middle ground.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Well, I feel it's probably not the best time for this because we've got someone actually, no, it might be the best time for this because someone's climbing to the final boss. So I'm going to go ahead and do some shoutouts, because why not at this point? First things first. For once, I'm shouting myself out first. Hi, I'm Sean Woody. I've been commentating this lovely seed with Yoshi Kion. Definitely well worth the follow. We got our runners here. We got JustSam and Sponge. Put on a wonderful show for us. Go ahead and check them out. Give them a follow. You know, our trackers, who, I'm going to be honest, without the trackers, we would be so lost. Trackers just one of the most important roles in the restream. Yeah, thanks, trackers. Gonna do it without you. Do we have a restreamer command? I don't think we do. I don't know what all of them are. Our restreamer Siberian, making sure this runs. Yeah, it's Siberian. It's done. I think that's all the commands. We have a monitor command.
Yeah.
We do, but that's definitely the wrong link. Star is currently in chat, making sure this race goes smoothly. And we do also have a French restream. Thank you, Kevin. I knew I forgot one. Happy Grant has been restreaming this race in the French language. Go ahead and give that a watch if you want to hear French language commentary go through the race. I think that's all of it. Oh, actually, no, there is one more I can do. If this kind of thing is something you'd be interested in having a go at, there is a link there to sign up to potentially track or commentate future races. And I suppose I will fill in the bingo card at least once. That was a pretty clean Ganondorf. I didn't see any errors. I deliberately did not mention it on Marinade.
I always make a point of trying to like subvert the commentator bingo things. Like,
although we did get so gone.
I was just gonna say I won't ever comment on Baronade being a clean fight, but I'll say it for like every other boss at this point.
And we did see Shadow's executive producer as well. I like that one too much. Come on. Right, so we're approaching very fast the what is effectively the end here. All we're going to do is land the final few hits on Ganon. We didn't actually see Valley. That's a good point. Oh, there it is. That star stab took a little while because Ganon was not cooperating. But there it is. Graveyard!
What?
What was in Graveyard? Graveyard to Malvasia. Well, either way, throw GG's in the chat. Sponge finished with a 2:05.09.
What was in the graveyard? Nocturne? And
Actually looking through now, it's the Trig one.
Nocturne to Hookshot.
Oh my god,
To get the letter, oh my god.
I hate everything about that. Well, either way, we have our runners in for an interview, it appears. GG's.
GG, Sam.
Yo, GG's.
I'm going to very quickly bring up that last thing we saw on Sam's side. Graveyard to Volvagia.
Yeah, it's a nice hint, right?
It's a fantastic hint if you get it any earlier. Oh, I'm so
What does that
sorry.
even mean?
It's the Nocturne for Hookshot to get the letter. To get the trade item.
That doesn't do shit. It could just as easily be in Forest Temple. What a
Yeah,
cruddy
that's
hint.
horrendous.
At At least if it had been somewhere like Zora's Fountain, that would have made sense.
I was worried about that, to be honest. I'm like, there's no way. It's like, it's either GTG or Fountain Path, and I'm just like, cool. I really hope that's not the case.
Well, I suppose the first question was, how was the seed? How did you find it?
Silence.
That good, huh?
There's no other way to go about it besides the fact that I pretty much god-routed it. Like, so.
When did you get a boost? I'm curious.
I got it in my child 2. I went back child after going through Crater. I didn't go to Adult SFM in my adult 1. I went back child, and then I did Child Spirit, and then I played Serenade, and I went through Hyrule Field to get to Child Forest, and then I just wanted to get the song. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So kind of the biggest split there as well was you didn't do Deku Tree. You didn't even touch Deku Tree. And so that had the second wallet, which Sam then took to King Zora, Blue Fire, to get that mirror shield.
Yeah, I was worried about Paradox Letter. That was a
possibility. Yeah, I was so big for the letter that was like, please. And then when I saw mirror, I was like,
We were talking quite a lot about the potential of like a trade item there. You just get like handed the prescription and just hand it immediately back. But Hammer then looks a lot potentially. So yeah, it definitely felt like one of those ones where a couple of small differences here and there could have swung this pretty drastically. But from that point on, it was just, I think between both skipping Deku and getting the hovers that early, it just, like you said it yourself, I think the God route just really played out from there.
Yeah, it's one of those seeds where if the generator puts items in the same spots amongst where the items were, is a very different experience. But the generator favored me today. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it.
So there were two things to touch on. I've got to say it because chat is very insistent on this one. Sponge, where was your head at the point of doing the choose strat in Shadow?
Like, was I stressing out about it? Not really.
Yeah, thought process. I was like, what was the... I just, if you use it, you use it, and whatever, you'll go through again, or...
Yeah, I haven't done that setup in over a year. So I couldn't remember if it was his left hand on the blotch on the wall or his right hand. And then when I threw like 4 chews at the pillar, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Let's try the right hand. And I was just like, look, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I'll just come back. Like, I don't know. I very much went into this seed with the thought of like, Sam is sick. Like, I could do everything right and still lose. So it's like, I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself because I'm kind of shocked that I made it this far in this bracket, to be honest, to this point. So this is just like bonus. It's gravy.
Yeah, fair.
I'm fair, yeah.
And then the other question there, Sam's side, what were your thoughts finding your first hook shot in Spirit at that point?
I was like, that's long shot. Like, where's the first one? And when I did Spirit and I went to Shadow and I found the other hook, I was like, oh, I need to just go like Lake and do Hyrule Field and like those 3 checks, and I got over it after that. So it wasn't that bad, but I guess you got it like way earlier than me. And that paid off.
Yeah. It just made sense for me. No minuet exists. I'm like, my best path to Child Forest that includes hints, which I value a lot in these settings, is field. So I'm definitely gonna do field on my way there if I can.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we did note at the start of the stream, by the way, before this race, in like major tournaments, and I think in just tournament 1v1s as a whole, you two were 1-1 against each other. Sponge got the win in Season 5. Sam, you got the win in SGL groups. So Sponge pulling ahead with this one. Almost feels like there's a rivalry building, maybe.
Well, if history is anything to go by, I'm gonna win the next one, and then Sam gets me in losers bracket finals in 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Any other thoughts on the seed from either of you?
Not really. I don't know.
Did you do bottom of the well? as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Where did you find your bow?
Frogs won.
Oh yeah.
On my
Wow.
way to do Javu. Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking the whole time, like, okay, how do I route this? I have Deku, well, Javu, all open.
Mhm.
From my perspective, I know I have to do Ice Cavern because I don't have a second wallet. So it's like Ice is basically progression. So I'm like, do I skip the well and Deku and go straight to Ice and just pray? Like, there's no way I'm gonna find both bow and trade quest item, right? No way, no.
Damn. It was a bow in the well.
Yeah, I'm checking. I see that in the VOD right now.
I guess the only other thing to touch on then is Sponge, your next opponent. Sully or Yo-Yo Karina?
Yeah.
I
don't
hope it's
like-
not solely for you.
Hey, I would love to play Solly. I'd love to play Yo-Yo
Okay.
as well. I have so much experience against Yo-Yo doing crazy 3 a.m. races, so I would love to play either of them, honestly.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever had a tournament match against Solly or Yo-Yo,
Doesn't look like it, no?
so it'll be a fresh
Check.
matchup for everybody. Very entertaining, probably. Hopefully.
I'd be happy to see either of those races.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know, like, Solly and I debate theory, like, all the time in DMs. So it would be really interesting to see, because we probably have, like, a level of knowledge about the way each other plays that, like, other people probably don't. So I'd be really interested to see how that match in particular would go. No shade to Yo-Yo, of course. That would also be an excellent match. So, really can't lose here. At least the viewers can't lose. That's for sure.
Alright, I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
it
all.
from our end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all we need to touch on.
Yeah, just GG's again. Congrats to Sponge.
Yeah,
Yep.
GG's as
Big
well, Sam.
GG, Sponge.
Be sure to follow our runners there. The links we posted in the chat. Commentating today was me, Shobody, and Yoshi Kion. Trackers were Lazy and Justin. Race monitor is according to the command 14681. It was Star. I love how that happened.
Yeah. Honestly, just to emphasize it again, I will say, make sure go and give Sam and Sponge a follow. Like, it's
yeah.
people in this whole tournament, everyone's putting on such incredible races. Like, it's wild to me that this is losers round, even losers round 4. Like, you know, we're talking top 24 at this point, and that still feels like it's too early for this match to happen. So, yeah, absolutely make sure to go and give both of them a follow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With that, I think we're done here, honestly. That's anything else.
No, that's it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in that case, just a quick preview what's up next on CSR. Today we have only 2 more restreams left. at 8 p.m. at 10 p.m. Both are Zelda 2 Randomizer Max Rando Tournament matches. This tournament is just starting with Swiss Round 1. And for more Zelda content, make sure to check our schedule. I think you also have nothing else to say? Or any final remarks?
Thanks for letting me commentate. It's fun.
Thank you guys for the restream.
Then we're raiding over to Brot in der Dose. He is doing a Season 6 practice right now.
Feed number 40,000 for Brot.
So then, thank you very much for watching and see you next time here on ZSR.
See ya.
Ladies.
See ya.